Okay, so we all know the big smoking triggers, right? Stress, that first coffee in the morning, after a great meal, those are the obvious ones. But what if I told you there's another one? A trigger that's so quiet, so sneaky, that you might not even realize it's there. And it's one of the biggest reasons quitting can feel so darn hard.
So, get this. What if one of your absolute strongest triggers is doing nothing at all? Yeah, you heard me right. Not an action, but the absence of action. You know those moments? The in-between times when you're just waiting, and it feels like that silence is just screaming for you to fill it with something?
All right, let's break this down. I like to call this the waiting game loop. And it's probably going to sound really familiar. You know, you're waiting for the bus, or your friend is running late again, or you're just sitting there before a meeting starts, and bam, the urge to smoke hits. It feels like the perfect thing to do in that moment, right? But here's the thing. Your mind is playing a really clever trick on you.
And this loop, it's a classic four-step cycle. First, you've got the cue. Just an empty moment of waiting, nothing's happening, and honestly, it can feel kind of uncomfortable. Step 2, the craving hits. That little thought just pops into your head. Step 3 is the response, which feels totally automatic, doesn't it? You just light up. And finally, step 4, the reward. That feeling of relief. Suddenly, waiting isn't so bad.
And that craving, it always comes with a little story, doesn't it? It's that voice saying, hey, a cigarette will help pass the time. It's not even just about the nicotine at that point. It's a promise of a little ritual, something to do with your hands, something to break the stillness. It turns a nothing moment into a something moment. And man, is that promise hard to resist.
Okay, but here's where we flip the script. What if that whole feeling of relief is, well, just a cloud of distraction? Let's actually look behind the curtain here. Because the real truth behind that urge, it's way simpler, and honestly, way less powerful than it feels. This is the big aha moment. The illusion is that the cigarette itself is what makes waiting easier, but the reality? Nope, it's the distraction that the cigarette provides. Think about it. The whole ritual of lighting it, holding it, the movement, that's what's easing the discomfort. Your brain wasn't really craving nicotine. It was just craving something to do.
And here's why that works so well. Your mind just hates stillness. It's true for all of us. Our brains are wired to be busy. They get restless and antsy when there's nothing to focus on. And nicotine? It's just a master hijacker. It's cleverly attached itself to that natural feeling of boredom, training your brain to think that a cigarette is the only solution for an empty moment.
So, the big question is, how do you break that link? How do you unhijack your brain? Well, the good news is it's not some huge, complicated process. The answer is actually incredibly simple, and it's found right there in that moment of waiting. It's all about learning the power of the pause. Seriously, the next time you feel that itch, that restlessness while you're waiting, just pause. That's the whole first step. Don't do anything. Don't reach for your pocket. Don't grab your phone. Just stop and take a breath.
And in that pause, I want you to just become a scientist of your own mind. Just watch. Watch the urge rise up. Feel that restlessness. It'll probably get stronger, maybe even peak, kind of like a wave in the ocean. The trick is to just observe it. No judgment, no panic, and definitely no action.
Because here's the amazing part. When you just watch it, that wave, it crests, and then it just fades, all on its own. An urge that you don't feed with action literally runs out of energy. You see? You don't have to wrestle it to the ground. You just have to watch it dissolve.
So what do you do instead? You replace the old habit with a new, tiny one. Instead of filling that pause with smoke, you fill it with a little bit of awareness. Try this. Just take a really deep breath. Or look up at the sky for a second. What do you see? Or listen. What sounds are around you right now? You can even just feel your own heartbeat. See, these are distractions too, but they're the good kind. They connect you right back to the here and now.
And every single time you do that, every time you choose to just breathe instead of smoke, you're doing something huge. You're not just resisting, you're literally rewiring your brain's reward system. You're teaching it a new lesson, that these empty moments don't have to be anxious. They can actually be peaceful.
And that's the real shift right there. The old reward was just a clouded distraction. It was about escaping the moment. The new reward, it's a moment of presence. It's about being in the moment. You go from running away from the pause to actually maybe even enjoying it.
So let's be clear about what this presence thing is. It's just a state of being aware and engaged with what's happening right now.
It's about turning that jittery, I need to do something feeling into a calm experience. And that right there is a reward that is so much better than anything a cigarette could ever give you.
Which brings us to a really powerful idea. Think about it. That pause, it was never actually empty. All those moments you spent waiting, the ones that felt so boring and uncomfortable, they were never empty at all.
That pause was simply waiting for your awareness to fill it. The choice has always been there. It was just kind of hidden behind all that smoke. So the real question, the one I want to leave you with, is this. The next time you're waiting, what are you going to fill that moment with?